Good evening, good evening, family. Welcome to another edition of Thorough Black Talk with your sister Keisha, your brother Tad, and your brother Shay SJ. Will be joining us shortly, along with our correspondent, Brother Blacksmith, coming in later on this evening. I hope you all are doing well and had a great week thus far. I hope you all are in the best of health, mentally and physically, because if ever was a time when we need to be on point, it is now. If there ever was a time when we needed to have all of our mental faculties and capabilities intact, it would be now. And so I hope that to be best for all of you. Tonight we have a lot to discuss with you all. We have also hopefully our sister Marcia will be joining us a little bit later as well. A shout out to the BK William Mackey History Club. They go live every 2 weeks um, via Zoom. So if you follow the Thorough Black Talk family, you'll know when they go live. Also, they are rebroadcasted on YouTube. So check out the Brooklyn William Mackey History Club. I believe the History Hitman will be back for a part two next week on the history of the Black church. So catch that first piece before you watch part two next week. Shout out to Empress Filet and New Day Liberation Radio. Check them out every Saturday evening, 10:30 to 12 p.m. Great program as well. And shout out to all of our Black media family out here. A lot of us are doing many different things. All of us are needed, and I appreciate everyone. Here on this platform, we show love to everybody because when they win, we win, and when we win, they win. That's the way we see it. It is definitely balanced over here. A lot to discuss in social media. We lost another hip hop artist this week as well. So we'll get in on that. Also, to continue our discussion last week, when we began to talk about the historical foundations of hip hop, we'll get into some of that again later on this evening. We also have to discuss some racial discrimination cases that we couldn't get into last week. We're going to get into that tonight. We also going to discuss our historical piece for this evening. I'll wait until the family get in here. I believe Brother Tad, Brother Ashe are running late, and they are working out some kinks to try to get in here. It seems that the more information that is spread throughout Black folks around the world, um, new laws are popping up to hinder the spread of that information. And so hopefully we'll get into some of that. A legal case that I am following now. In fact, we just brought it up in our class earlier this week. Um, Hopefully, I'll get a chance to discuss 100 critical cases that you all should be aware of because they affect you directly. So again, thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate you, Sister Tosh Monique in the building. What's up, Sister Girl? I hope everything is well with you and your family. On your end, Sister Joyce, Brother Monty on the check-in. Love y'all to life. You already know what it is. Shout out to y'all. Sister Marie, how does it feel to be back in the classroom now? Y'all back in there with the little ones. You know, salute to all the teachers out there. Teachers, teachers assistants, principals, all of you who work within education. Salute to all of you because I know it is difficult for all of you facing a whole lot of shenanigans, restrictions, mandates, not enough supplies, insufficient lesson, insufficient protocol. So salute to all the teachers out there because oftentimes, Black teachers are not respected or disrespected, taken advantage of. And we need to salute them because They are the gateway for our children's future. So we got to be one on one with our teachers. I hope all of you parents out there are in direct connection with your child's teachers, from pre-K to through the end of high school. I was always there with my daughter. I don't care what grade she was in. I was at every parent teacher. I'm involved in everything. I want to know what's going on. So, especially these days and times, y'all got a whole lot of, oh man, I could salute to y'all. That's all I'm gonna say. Salute to y'all. Sister Farnessa, Bibi Fahodie, to you too, sis. All the best to you and your family, and I hope that you all are in the best of health. Sister Miriam, greetings and peace to you as well. So we're gonna get into this, family. I wanted to start out tonight with a story that came across my desk that isn't being spoken about very often. When you talk about these uh, African centered schools, right? It's very hard for them to get funding from the public coffers, which should be designated for that if they are serious about educating our children. But when Black people start African centered schools, it's always a problem. But other groups can get all types of funding and educate their children, if you will, with no pushback from politicians, no pushback from the voting public. Here in New York, you had an article or a series of articles talking about the Hasidic yeshiva schools are inadequate. Um, just in 4 years' time, they received over $1 billion out of the city and state's coffers. African centered schools aren't getting $1 billion. I can get Brother Q Butter up here in a minute, and he'll tell you the city ain't giving him $1 billion. These are things that are problematic as far as education is concerned. We need to educate our own. And what I mean by that, independent um, institutions of education. Say, for example, Ziax Institute. There should be one in Harlem, in Brooklyn, in the Bronx, especially in Queens, um, and anywhere else that he wanted. And it should be funded through tax dollars. Why isn't that the norm? Why haven't we as parents demanded that be the norm? Other ethnic groups or religious groups do it, and there is no pushback. But we have become accustomed to others educating our children and being comfortable with that. I remember when my child was in the first grade and she was in a public school. Um, I had gone to pick her up, and there was some things that I saw that was very unsavory. And so I spoke to her teacher at that time about it, and I told the teacher I will be removing her from the school that day. Um, they thought I was kidding, but I wasn't. I went down to the principal's office and I asked for, you know, copies of all of her records because I was removing her from the school ASAP. So they try to convince me, we should leave her in there. It's a new charter school. And nah, this ain't rocking for me. I found an African centered school and I asked them if they had space for her. They did. Back then, the tuition was $500 a month, you know, and that was in the 90s, in the mid 90s. $5,000, $500 a month for her to attend an African centered school. And so, my husband and I, we sacrificed so that it can be done. We wanted to buy property back then, but we sacrificed and said, no, she got to go to a better school um, to know who she is, um, to feel comfortable in a learning environment. to be accepted as she was, so that her education could blossom. Today, a lot of parents can't afford to send their children to privately funded schools or African centered schools. I find that to be problematic because if the public schools aren't working and the charter schools are failing, we should have our own alternative. But it seems that parents today aren't pushing for that. And that's very disturbing. I remember, and maybe Sister Marie could touch in on this, she being an educator, but I remember, when I would go to parent teacher conferences or PTA meetings, there were very few parents there, very few parents there. Even in Catholic schools, right? You had a lot of parents who would show up because they were paying for their education. However, they coddled their children, meaning they would try to plea bargain with teachers. Or you can ask a lot of teachers who taught in the Catholic school system, plea bargain for their children to be passed into the next grade while they coddled them at the same time, giving them all that they wanted and desired, even though they weren't making the grade. And so teachers and parents have to work hand in hand. So, you know, we got to find a better solution to that. You have teachers who are afraid of some of these students in these schools. These are things that are not spoken of um, uh, in the general populace, if you will. You don't hear your neighbors or, you know, other parents talking about how teachers are afraid to teach some of these children. We're going to show a clip later where a teacher was pummeled by an Asian student in her classroom. I think Brother Tad has sent that to me. It's disheartening. And so, as parents, please do your best um, to step in and be active in your child's education, because we are moving in a world where you know what we saw was quality education today is not, because we live in a technological age, and that is damaging, right? Because your children don't know how to, for example, everything is geared towards STEM right now. The social sciences are also important because they teach you how to interact in community, how to be productive in community. Um, these type of classes aren't taught anymore, and it's needed. Um, Now you have generations of children who believe everybody is their friend, and they shouldn't. You know, if ever there was a time, race relations here in this country have fallen by the wayside, you know, falling by the wayside. Nobody cares what's happening to black people, black children, black teachers, black mothers, black fathers. Nobody cares. Everybody is worried about some other group. However, we do the bidding for everybody else, right? We hold the political structure as it is intact. No other group does that but us, you know. And we'll get into all of that a little bit later as well. So I wanted to show this video, and I think it was Brother Tad who sent this to me, but if it wasn't, forgive me. Um, he sent me this video clip of an Asian student pummeling his black teacher because the teacher confiscated his cell phone for whatever reason. So check out this clip and we'll come back and discuss it. Hold on, family. Here we go.
Seen on social media over the past 24 hours. The original Facebook post shared over 3,000 times. And even though it's barely 40 seconds long, It's a difficult video to watch. In it, you can hear an 8th grade Bowie Middle School student and his teacher arguing over a phone that she confiscated from him. As the video progresses, you see the teacher refusing to give it to him. Then the student becomes physical, shoves the teacher, hits her multiple times, knocks her head against the desk, and knocks her to the ground. A violent incident that ECISD Superintendent Dr. Murray said will not be tolerated in this district.
Specifically with students involved in a situation like this, we have an obligation to follow our student code of conduct. And in this situation, violence is not tolerable. Specifically, this was an assault on a teacher. And so we will certainly use our every avenue legally to make sure that this type of situation doesn't happen again. All of those pieces are in place. So these incidents don't necessarily create a policy change. It is effectively using the policies and procedures that are in place. And so fidelity of implementation, if you will, making sure that we're implementing those policies and procedures effectively.
And he says while they make sure their teachers are equipped with what they need, he wants parents to do the same with their children.
Clear rules and expectations of children and of adults as well, but that needs to be clear. Our families need to understand those so that moms and dads can have conversations with kids about those rules and expectations. And then we have to equip our teachers and those that work with our children with the knowledge so that they also understand the rules and expectations and then how to implement those and enforce those within our campus. So that's.
And as for the teacher involved, the district is fully supporting her.
We're providing full support to that teacher to make sure that she feels confident and comfortable to return to work and continue to educate kids. And we will continue to support her and her family as we navigate this situation.
So, and you have all of these other ethnic groups that already have in their way of thinking, Black people are less than they are. This is not an isolated incident. This happened in Odessa, Texas, but this isn't an isolated incident as far as Black teachers are concerned. Nobody gives a damn. Nobody gives a damn. And if the teacher would have pummeled the student, not only could she have faced charges of an assault, faced an assault charge, but also possibly a hate crime because the Asian community is now a protected class. Black folks voted for the politicians that made the Asian community a protected class. And so again, I say, these are some of the problems that we are facing out here. You know what I mean? Somebody got to do something. So again, family, be on point when it comes to these teachers and, who's attacking them. Work with them, especially if they look like us, for the best interest of your child. Shout out to Brother Bomani Mayasa in the building. I love you, brother. Love you, brother. Y'all kick it off for me when I start riding my bike in the morning. It's either UF or Tahir. One of y'all kick it off for me every morning when I ride my bike. Brother Ray said white people made St. Peter Claver into a school for them. Absolutely, in Brooklyn. Absolutely. Now, if you maybe one day we'll go through the history of that place, Brother Ray. I gotta do that one day. Sister Farnessa said facts. These parents have left their children out here vulnerable, like racism is a thing of the past. Absolutely. And these kids can't deal with a lot. Sister Marie said she couldn't even watch it. I also, and these Asians they on 10 right now. A lot of these Asian youth are on 10. I don't know if you guys have been watching the protests that have been happening in their home countries. I just watched the video. I think Brother Tad sent me that too. He's on his way in. But a little boy between the ages maybe 8 or 9 choked his grandmother to death. So when they talk about the violence in Black communities, what about what they doing? Choked his grandmother to death. You hear me? I ain't playing that tonight, but when Brother Tad come in, we'll discuss it. So y'all don't think I'm making this stuff up. Sister Tosh Monique said, my oldest son went to a satellite school for gifted kids. It was a great school. Yeah, I went to a satellite program as well, you know? So, and then moved on to other programs. I was always gifted in writing and English and in the social sciences. So, I was taking Regents classes way back, when it wasn't a thing to do. She also, Sister Farnessa said, I wonder if they'll try to flip it on the teachers since they have, yeah, I just said that. If the roles have been reversed, and I don't think they're going to do it now because he was the aggressor, right? And he pummeled her, right? And based on what the spokesperson for the school was saying, they're going to deal with that student. But he should be brought up on criminal charges for assault. I would file criminal charges. The teacher should go to the precinct, file criminal charges against that student. I have no sympathy. I will put your kid in jail. Quick. Don't play with me. Sister Marie said she would have lost her job. Absolutely. Call your husband, get that bail money up because I'm going in. That's it. It's got to stop. It's got to stop. And everybody is playing us for suckers right now. You know what I mean? Yes, Brother Bomani said Asians don't call the police on each other. Nah, they got Asian gangs to deal with that. See, we don't work in tandem with those in the underworld where we live at. We like to get rid of them. That never works. And that's why I always say, don't be so gung-ho on studying the victories of history, but study the mistakes. And when you study the mistakes, you understand that this is necessary. This is a necessary tool. Brother Bomani said if that kid was black, they would have heck yeah, they would have perp walked him. Cuffs and all. And his mama. Right now you had a tragic incident that happened here in New York, in Brooklyn, to be exact. Your old stomping grounds, Brother Bomani. A sister, not in her right frame of mind, drowned 3 of her children in Coney Island Beach, right? This woman faced eviction, hungry, 3 babies, I think all under the age of 10 or 7. She drowned them, not being in the right frame of mind. These are things that aren't spoken of. We out here crazy. You got people riding on scooters doing drive-bys. You got people on scooters doing robberies. The situation with this hip-hop artist, P&B. There are cameras everywhere. What would make someone just roll up somewhere and just rob somebody of something they have that they work hard for? Why is this okay? Why do families protect criminals? I'm not talking about, I'm not talking about your everyday hustlers or whatever. I'm talking about if you got a child in your home who beating up old black ladies and old black men, robbing 6-year-olds, and you don't deal with it, you just as crazy. You aiding and abetting a nut. You got to get your child some help. The community isn't a community. We live in neighborhoods that are imbalanced and unbalanced. I didn't know who this P&B was before, until I heard his music. Then I realized who he was. I had to call some of the youngins in the family to see what it was about, because I'm at a point where I am dead focused on the enemy. If it ain't dead focused on the enemy, I can't mess with it right now. Unless I'm doing some investigative journalism or something, I can't mess with it right now. I can't. I got to keep my faculties in order. And certain melodies I hear rub my spirit the wrong way. I can't rock with it. You got so many children. And Sister Marie, you tell me if I'm wrong, who are coming into the school systems with so many mental problems. Depression at 5, 4, 3, major depression. I'm not making this up. You know, I talk to teachers all the time, and I ain't got no damn little children. But I'm just saying, major depression, hunger. Why are these babies so depressed? What's going on at home? Why are their parents depressed? Because that's where it's coming from. The abuse. A lot of our young people are majorly depressed. And they don't know how to deal with it. And so we're turning in on each other. But your local politicians don't see this as a crisis. They worried about illegal migrants, their well-being, their mental health, so that they can replace you. They got time, energy, and money for people who don't even pay taxes in this mother effer. But again, you vote for these people. It is what it is. Brother Beaumonte said mental health issues has gone unchecked in our community since forever. Absolutely. Absolutely. Sister Marie said, I'm right what I'm talking about. Okay. She said it's starting at 3 years old. Hey, then I ain't lying. She's an educator. I ain't lying. I'm riding the subway. I think it was Monday or Tuesday evening, and I'm watching a little boy. His mom is sitting next to her, sitting next to him, looking at her phone, whatever it is that she was doing. But the look on his face was so sad, so sad. And I'm like, he's a baby. He could barely, she had to pick him up to put him on a seat. He got to be like 3 years old. I'm pushing it for 4. But the level of sadness on this child's face. And when I'm looking at the mom, the expression on her face, the level of sadness is so, we're in a crisis. We are in a mental health crisis right now. A mental health for a woman to drown her babies. All 3 of them. And I'm watching today, and I think I sent it to Brother Tad and Brother Ashe earlier this morning, that you had New York City mayor talking about the depression and what these migrants are going through and all the services that they're going to offer them, that they here for them 100%. You got Mayor, what's her name, in Chicago. I call her Beady Eyes. In Chicago, Lori Lightfoot, excuse me, doing the exact same thing. Saying the exact same thing. You think all them shooters in Chicago ain't depressed? In order for you to just automatically pull up and rob an 83-year-old person for $13, 73-year-old person for $13, and you 14 years old, that's some serious depression. Or hunger 1. Now, if the city has money to feed illegal migrants, to house illegal migrants, when this woman with 3 babies was facing eviction, had no food to feed her children, Tell me, how is that fair and just? Again, I blame the voters. You need to be held accountable because you put these people in office to handle business for you and the city. Your fault. Your fault you didn't know who they were. Your fault you don't know their agenda. Your fault. We have to have accountability. I see my brother Tad on the check-in. What's good with you, brother Tad? How you feeling?
It's one of them days. I'm feeling good. But I swear, Sister Keisha, I don't know. We like in tune so much because I was just having this conversation. I was downtown Brooklyn, you know, talking about mental health. Our folks is crazy. I saw this dude in the store looking like Lizzo. This grown ass man, belly everywhere, glittery dress on, full beard, his belly everywhere. I'm like, yo, our folks is really like,
They out here crazy.
yeah, just plumb crazy. And speaking of the sister, I caught part of it, while my phone and everything was charging. But yeah, I feel bad for the sister because even when she gets the help she needs and she come back to her senses, she got to live with what she's done to her children, you know. And I always question, what are people going through before they get to that point? A lot of people walk around with levels of pain that we can't imagine, and a snap like that, a brand new baby, a 7-year-old, and with the other one was 3 or 4, it's painful because, I work out in that area. So all that morning, I saw the suits out there. And I was wondering what was going on. I thought a politician was visiting the area, because they're definitely building up and developing, big luxury apartments going up all over in that area. So I thought that's why they were there. But once I got in the office, I heard that, a sister took the life of her children, and it's sad because these things are going unchecked. And as you said, they're worrying about immigrants because we're constantly being told about the immigrants, about all the opportunities they're affording them. And this is something.
I think we lost brother Tad. He'll be back. He's trying to work out the kinks. So, in that vein, when us as Africans in America aren't a protected class, everybody has a leg up on us.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, brother Tad.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Somebody was calling my phone, and all these devices are synced in to one another. The crazy part of it all is that we're told to cater to these immigrants. But what I was going to say is that reading the Miseducation of the Negro, Carter G. Woodson talks about this, about immigrants coming to the country, taking over jobs that we once did or we know we should be paid more for those services. And while I was downtown, I see all of these Mexican fruit stands on every corner, just making money hand over fist. And that's something Carter G. Woodson said. He said, you will see the Mexicans on the side of the road selling oranges. And what are they doing now? I mean, it's watermelon and mango now, but nonetheless, it's fruit. Which that's multi-layered because we know they were here before the invasion of the Europeans. There was blacks and Mexicans, who we call Mexicans now, was already here. But I just watch how superficially everything's changed, high-rise apartment, luxury vehicles, all this. But the way that we're being treated as black people, how opportunities are constantly pulled away from us. And anything that is out here for us is pretty much kept on a hush-hush, where little to no black people even know about these things. And we got to go dig it. But meanwhile, you see all types of billboards and PSAs for immigrants and the likes. Now, my agency works with the Department of Homeless Services, and those Department of Homeless Services is the agency that's pioneering these immigrants coming to New York. And they're taking them from everywhere, Sister Keisha. Everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. Many of them aren't even immigrants. They're just people in other states who's like, yo, if I can make it to Texas, Texas is sending buses to New York, and New York is giving people places to live and benefits. Like, they don't even have to earn nothing. Meanwhile, we still trying to get reparations for what our ancestors went through. And they sending billions over to Ukraine. And this is an insult. And you know, you're right. We should be holding these politicians accountable, from Eric Adams to Al Shaw, anybody who say they represent us, anybody who say they speak. I don't think Eric Adams say he speak in the interests of black folks, but you know what I mean. You know, so many people are using our votes to get in position and then just straight turning their back on us. Meanwhile, our people are out here suffering, and this is contributing to the mental health that's got people out here bugging, harming their children, harming themselves, harming random strangers. You know, it's just crazy out here.
It is. And in vain with, I showed the video you sent me, Brother Tad, where the Asian student was pummeling this black teacher.
Oh, yeah.
Before you came on, I showed
Right.
that video. Now, I want you all to draw your attention to this, right? You have Texas A&M faces class action suit alleging discrimination against Asian and white men. This is a HBCU. Okay?
Wow.
What did I say? They are a protected class. And you voted for it. So when your children can't get into these schools, blame yourself. Blame yourself. Blame your goddamn self. This is what we're dealing with out here. And not just that. You got to understand that, you know, people, as Brother Taz said, you know, people are getting services, they're getting employment, right? And who's running these employment agencies? What's happening to our brothers and sisters who are working in these areas, low employment areas such as warehouses and factories, where their supervisors and managers are people who just got here and looking out for themselves. Right across the street from me, there is a housing NYCHA complex. They are refacing many buildings in NYCHA development. Brother Tad, I kid you not, there are about 30 migrant workers. They don't speak English. They get out of a van early in the morning, about 7 a.m. There are only 3 black men working on this site. These these Latinos don't speak to them. One of them was murdered yesterday. Okay?
Wow.
On the site, on the job site, murdered yesterday. So that brings down from 3 to 2.
On your block?
I ain't never lied. Okay? Down the block from me. Okay? I ain't never lied. Right on Stanley Avenue, somebody was murdered. One of the black ones.
Wow.
So now, I brought this up last week. There's, in California, the largest, read that with me, family, the largest race bias cases. Latino workers accused of abusing black colleagues. You don't think all of this is in tandem? Everybody is looking out for themselves, involved politically. We don't like to get involved politically. We don't. Gotta tell that truth. When I pull up at these forums and meetings, we ain't there in numbers. You may get 5 to 10. Everybody else look like somebody else in these spaces. This is a fact. And y'all seen on this platform, we've shown video of me pulling up to various forums and things of that nature. Hakeem Jeffries is not telling these legal migrants, they ain't immigrants. Immigrants are citizens and residents. They are illegal migrants. Mr. Adams, where was this energy for the Haitians at the Texas border who was being whipped? What happened to them? We don't even know what the hell happened to them people. They were just gone the next day.
Yeah.
They was gone. When you have all of these incidents in California, Latino gangs are terrorizing black folks. I'm not making this up. That's what they say. Follow them on the gram. They showing it. I don't make this stuff up. They showing it for you. Now, they tried it here in New York. But our brothers, these brothers in the Crips, they wasn't playing. They pulled uptown. We ain't having that up here. They wasn't on live, on TV, on the news. They wanted everybody in New York City. You ain't beating up black people here. They had to come all the way from Brooklyn. Where them Harlem cats at? You know how y'all move funny anyway. But I'm just saying. You know I ain't lying, Tad. Come on. You know all them cats move funny. So I'm just saying. Where was y'all at? I went on Eric Adams' Twitter feed today. Where was this energy for the Haitians at the border? I'll tell you why. Because the Latino community are dead set in his ass. We on the sidelines playing games. Literally playing games. You get a program, they become a protected class. That's how it works. We get a whole lot of programs. I got so many programs I can name. You still ain't a protected class. They are. So, I see my sister Marcia on the check-in. Let me get her in here. What you think, Sister Marcia? This Mayor Eric Adams, I'm really holding my tongue.
He's doing a fine job.
I don't want to get you and Tad in trouble because I don't
He's
give
doing
a
a
damn.
fine job. What are you talking about? He's an excellent mayor. He's protecting the citizens. He cares for us. He cares for us. He cares for us black people first. Don't you see? He's putting all the resources in our community first. He's making sure that we are taken care of first.
So they must be opposite.
He comes to us first. He goes to all the black organizations that he knows that he was a part of 20, 30 years ago and gives them the inside ins on what's going on and how to collect funds for their organizations. That's what he's doing for us. That's our great mayor, Adams.
Let me tell you something. I have a clip, an audio clip. I'm going to try to find it, as we go through the night. And if I don't have it tonight, I'll definitely have it for you next week. Because on Thorough Black Talk, we come with evidence.
And receipts.
Not facts, evidence. Evidence proves your point, not a fact.
That's right. And we're going to give Marcia a round of applause for that comedic skit she just gave. Everybody catch her at Caroline's this weekend.
Thank you. Like you said, Brother Tad. And how are you? I'm sorry, I didn't greet everyone. How are you, Brother Tad? How are you, Sister Keisha?
Well,
great.
Sis, I'm doing well.
Great. And, he's just doing the job that we elected him to do for us, making sure we come
they
first.
Elected him to do.
I know she's Creole, but you're using we in the wrong context.
I think we forget. I don't
want that context. Take me out of it.
I think the voting public forgets that when you elect someone, when you go in there and you exercise your right to vote, they're supposed to come back to you. And when they're not coming back to you, you're supposed to kick them out. Or you're supposed to yell and scream and say, hey, what about us? And I don't think we do that as a group of people. Again, back to the whole conversation from last week, we don't have an oath, an anthem, something that we do together. Yes, as collective groups, but not as representing ourselves as a nation, like those other groups of people that can get people from the border right away. No problem.
You know what's crazy too is that the most concentrated group of our folks is always in the church. And I think it's about time we start approaching these ministers and imams saying, look, y'all are the voice of the community. Though people may belong to different civic organizations and things outside of the religious one, the religious groups are the most boisterous and powerful. And as the leaders in the community, they're supposed to be in these meetings that you bum rush, Sister Keisha, and at least have your back if they're not going to say what you say. And this is the problem in our community, you know, and it's unfortunate because they always want to fight the fight after the win is already declared. After the win is announced and they go home with the prize, now the church and the mosque and everybody want to fight. And this is a problem. And we got to really start holding their feet to the fire and bringing other elements of the community. And, you know, I was having a conversation with someone and we were talking about Black leaders. And sometimes I had to explain to somebody, we got to stop confusing Black educators with Black leaders. Because a lot of our people now have a lot of rhetoric, but they don't organize our people with a goal and agenda to move them forward. So they can tell us about ancient Kemet and they can tell us all about the Orishas and how the difference between Vodou and Vodun and all that stuff. But are you leading us? You're giving us information, but it's not being organized to work in our benefit. And that's how information really works. That's how knowledge is power. I think all three of us worked in a corporate area at some point in our life where we realized that anytime there was a meeting, it came with an agenda and information. And with that new information, this is how we're going to implement it to move this company forward. Us as Black people, we just like to say, you know, we's on the planet first, right? You know, the Black woman was first, right? You know, the Black woman's God, right? You know, the Black man invented toe jams, right? You know that, right? We bug. We need to come with some real viable, applicable information because me, myself, I'm looking up a lot of information just on how do we even compete in the business world in 2022 because people still running with antiquated information from and no knock on none of our ancestors, but we still reading J.A. Rogers and we still reading W.B. Du Bois and all of that has its place. But they weren't speaking for the times we're in right now. And I know we got some intelligent Black folks circling around somewhere that's genius in tech, that's genius in finances, that's geniuses in organizing, and definitely political geniuses. But we got to bring them people together and make this knowledge and information cohesive so we can move together. Because we it's like we stuck, and we watching other groups just come in and take everything right from up under our feet. Meanwhile, our children are still trying to be rappers and ball players. Not realizing
and I think
so much more. Go ahead, sis.
I'm sorry. And I think one of the major problems or issues is that we don't see victory. So we don't know what victory looks like outside of the larger groups, the Urugus and all of those groups. That's the only place that you see victory. So these very intelligent folks are always aligning themselves with that bracket, and they don't know how to separate themselves outside of that bracket. I think that was one of the hardest things I had to deal with in corporate America. Like, I had sisters alongside of me, and they were still so aligned with the Urugus, and I would be like, yo, let's move away. Let's try to do an initiative just for us, just for our sector. And no, we have to do it for everybody. And I'm like, but why? Why does everything always have to be for everybody when everybody knows when they have to focus on themselves and for themselves and stuff like that? Or they'll tell you, well, then join some type of Greek organization and they'll help you go through whatever. But these Greek people, they pledge every morning. Every morning they're pledging, or every week they're pledging. They're doing the things that we ourselves need to do again, because we forget that we are working for our people, and our people aren't pledging every morning like a collective, getting on the phone. This is our pledge for the morning. This is our initiative. This is what we're doing, yada, yada, yada. We're not doing these things. And I think that's what's making it so hard for us to do some of the things that Brother Tad is doing, and always some of the things that Sister Keisha is saying, because they're pledging to everybody else but to us, but to themselves as a Black nation. And that's very crucial for us to start doing for our
You know,
future.
I think, sis, the problem is, well, I know what the problem is. And I can speak from my experience when we tried to forge the Freedom Party. Um, Here it is, something historic took place in 2013, right? In New York. Now you have Black people who funded and built their own political party, right? Dealing with the saboteurs in New York government and the New York Board of Elections. All of that and all of it came with that. We still were able to solidify ourselves as a political party. We met all the requirements to solidify ourselves as a political party. In fact, we went above and beyond what it takes to form a political party. Black people beg for freedom. They don't want to pay for anything. You don't want to pay for anything, but you will pay for your own oppression, right? You will pay for that, but you won't pay for your freedom. You want people to sacrifice everything that they have. Trust me, I lost a hell of a lot doing that. I still haven't recovered. You would think we have a lot of filmmakers, documentarians, um, media powerhouses. Someone would do a story on the Freedom Party. But because it was, and still today, we still waiting. And still today, people will turn a blind eye if white folks ain't involved, or if white folks haven't given approval of it. The same with this whole BLM movement. Where was all of these Black people before? When BLM started spewing a whole bunch of nonsense, all these Black people all of a sudden want to protest in the streets. I couldn't even get you to put a signature on a piece of paper that will give you the freedom you're looking for. You wanted police off your back? We already had an appointment of a police commissioner. You wanted funding in your communities? We already had a person running for public advocate who would put you first. You were looking for a mayor who will see your plight. We put that in a position for you. You didn't want it. I'm not doing that shit no more. I'm not. You are going to pay me this time around. You understand? You want lobbyists in Washington to argue on your behalf. You want me to do it for free? Are you crazy? Nobody does that. There was a boxer, a brother Bomani in the chat. He'll. I forget his name, Juan, whatever his name, from Texas. Boxer out of Texas. Left the boxing world. He was a champion. The boy was no joke. Left the boxing world. Come on, Bomani, help me out. Left boxing to become a lobbyist for his people. How many Black boxers left the game to become a lobbyist, even for their profession? Show me. I'm waiting. See, this is our problem. And this is why a re-education is necessary. We have to be, as Sister Farnessa put up here, real militant in our approach in re-educating in a new paradigm, as Brother Tad mentioned, to get our people on board. Latino business funds their political agenda. Those white Cubans that left Cuba, they funding their agenda. What's that little rapper dude out there? I forget his name. Culture Vulture. Out there in Miami. Pitbull.
Pitbull, yeah.
Plain.
Yeah.
He did plain where he stands at for Cuban people. White Cuban people.
Mm-hmm.
Black people, when that video went out a couple of weeks ago of this AI rapper, I saw so many comments on social media. How many Black people in entertainment left with millions, sitting in position of billions right now, never thought to garner and control it for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But you would throw salt on each other. You will go at each other. You will murder each other. You will do everything that is anti your success and then complain about it later.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
DJ Khaled, Pitbull, the AI rapper, Macklemore, whoever wouldn't be able to do jack if Black men and women took control of this genre. But I'm gonna step off my soapbox. Go ahead, Brother Tan.
No, I was gonna say, you know, it's crazy because about 20 years ago, remember, they did try, and that's when everybody got bum rushed with the feds and investigating. You know, that was Jay Prince and Murder
Right,
Inc.
Suge.
Everybody, because what they were gonna do was try to put their money together, create a distribution company, and take it. Same thing that Prince was attempting to do. Same thing that Michael Jackson was attempting to do with his "This Is It" tour. Because one of the things a lot of people may or may not know is that Michael Jackson financed that tour himself, and all the proceeds was going directly to him. And he was creating a distribution company so that you know, the music can be in the hands of the people again. And one caveat he had is you can't make this junk we hear now. It can't be this gangbanger murderous culture that we see. Now, mind you, this is when Michael Jackson was murdered, because look at where we at now. There's another rapper who just was murdered, P&B Rock, and somebody put a post up that he belongs to a label called Empire, and almost every rapper on that label was murdered. Now, one of the things we know, because a few murders back, we learned that this guy has insurance on his rappers, and they said that's a common practice.
Ghazi Shammy, that's his name.
Yeah, they said it's a common practice, you know, because they're investing in these artists, and these artists are living dangerous lifestyles, which I find crazy, because if you're my investment, outside of an insurance policy, I'm going to tell you how to move, how to stay alive. Don't go in this area. Don't be involved, this, that, and the third. I got a couple of homeboys who manage some young artists, and all I could tell them is from a street perspective, from an OG, I'm like, yo, when you at a show, this is your job. Your homies, they just looking at it as a party. They're looking at it as a good time. But don't let them mess up money. This is how you eat. You're trying to get in position where you can really help them because you're not there yet. Organize your boys. Talk to them. Tell them don't go in the club wilding. Because everybody get drunk. They want to start pushing. Fights always ensue. And it's always the case. And I always share with them the stories of my homies that was murdered in these streets before they could make it big. Or when one of them do make it big and still get gunned down, like my homie Notorious B.I.G. You know what I'm saying? I know dudes who got gunned down in the lobby of the projects, Atlantic Terminals. God bless my man Hab. He had one of the first records in the hood before Big got his deal. You know, and they, you know, we all used to just talk about that because we all wanted to make it in the music business. You know, but people, we are the only group of people that sell death to our people as a form of entertainment. Other people sell their music as a healing mechanism, as a political voice, as whatever, just to move their community forward. Us, we get paid millions to talk about our death and murder. And then I don't want to get too deep, but if we understand how music works, it works on the frequency, it works on vibrations that really have magnetic energy. Our thoughts are electric magnetic impulses that goes on in our brain. And everybody know electricity has magnetism to it. So what you think, you speak. What you speak, you attract. And this is intentionally done. This is intentionally done that our young people constantly talk about death and pretty much prophesy their death, because people are getting rich. And we weren't here to be part of the American dream. We were here to build it and facilitate it. And nothing has changed. So to your point, Sister Keisha, they'll let us touch a little million here, a little million there, because, I mean, they're making billions off of us. They're making billions off of us. They control the insurance company. They the ones selling the jewelry to us. They're the ones selling the cars to us. They selling the high-end clothing. We're using their video cameras, equipment, and crew to shoot our own videos. Only thing we are is the face. We are just the face. And then they're monetizing it and trying to repackage it and sell it back to us as if this is our culture. And it is our culture, but not the message in it, not the depth. Our music was always used for healing. So even when you go back to Motown, even when you go back before that, we were expressive. Yeah, we had a little bit of adult music here and there back then, but again, it was for adults. It was for grown folks who knew what they were talking about, knew the consequences of what was being sung, and many of them just knew it was entertainment. But ain't no way little children should be singing WAP. Ain't no way little children should be singing about murdering anybody. You know, because these images are being planted in their head, and it's materializing as thoughts, and thoughts become our behavior.
And the saddest problem is, Brother Tad, that their parents are listening to it in front of a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old. And then when you say something, you look like the bad guy, like, yo, the children are outside. Maybe we should change the music while they're outside. Oh, they got to listen to what we listening to. Wah, wah, wah. And you're just like.
And that's the beauty of the position I stand in, because I don't ask, I demand. And I often tell people, you know what I'm saying? I gently demand, but again, it's not a question. It's, yo, it's kids in here. That's a statement. But yo, we not gonna do that. That's a statement. Because people don't understand the ramifications it has. And in fact, we're a different kind of people. I always encourage, and I'm gonna say this real quick. I just want everybody to go out and read Dr. Amos' book, The Developmental Psychology of the Black Child. It's very important that you read that. Also, Awaken the Natural Genius in Black Children. Just go read those books, because I could go on for days about that. But Sister Marcia, I sent Sister Keisha a video on Instagram of this little Asian boy who choked his grandmother out.
I was saying that earlier. I said I'm not going to play that video, but I mentioned that you sent me that video earlier, Ted.
No. Repeat that again.
An Asian boy choked his grandmother out, and the cousins and the other children just sat around and watched. He literally choked her to death. And they video recorded. The mother came in and just
8 years old, maybe 8 years old.
Right. And the mother came in, beat the boy. The other children was just sitting there looking, and then they started scattering. But while he was choking her, it was funny. And I say that because they don't even have hip hop. That's just who they are. Our children are different, but look at what our children programmed to become, because our children do have a lack of respect for the elders. They just do. Now, I know there's tons of people who ass I could kick. Some people I can't. But there's tons of people who ass I could kick. And never do I go around disrespecting elderly people or children, even though I'm physically in the condition that I can. I look at all these weaklings and these chumps trying to act tough. Disrespectful to the elders, disrespectful to the children. In fact, I don't know if y'all saw the video where a teenager destroyed his mom's crib. He broke everything in the house. Broke the
12-year-old boy. Yep.
what
No, she said he's
said,
15. She
yeah,
came up.
yeah, she said
15.
he's 15 and about 6 foot something. But this is the
Yeah.
importance of men in the house. This is the importance of men in the house. Because when men raise boys to be men, we catch them at those critical ages where they're already taught respect at 3, 4, 5 years old. So by the time he gets 6 foot anything, he already know respect is the order of the day. One of the things that dudes,
I'm sorry to cut you off. Just one thing. Just to see how the mom was like, I just shared this with a friend, and the friend weaponized it and threw it out online as if it was okay. And she said that, you know, she's dealing with mental issues with the son. And yes, Brother Tad, having a male figure in the household may or may not have prevented this, given a mental issue. But it's also very crucial that trust is one of the biggest problems we have in our community. And this is one of the reasons why we can't get any further, because we don't trust one another. We always think that someone is going to leverage information against us, weaponize it in some way, and leave us at the bottom. Like the mother is in pain, but yet now the whole world sees it and judging her and criticizing what we don't know, because we don't know what's going on in her personal life. But we can just look and say, damn, that's a sad situation. And maybe there is no man in the house. Maybe there is no this. Maybe there is no that. Maybe there is no nothing. But all we do know is that she has a young man in her house that is hurting, and we're criticizing her with. And then there's this one sister that's laughing at the whole video. And I'm just like, are you serious? Why are you laughing? Like, this is some real
Because
dangerous
people
stuff.
get off, unfortunately, with this social media indoctrination. People get off on misery. People get off on misery and falsehoods. You know, I know we all see people post stuff online. I'm like, that ain't your real life. Like, where you get that from? Like, you look crazy. But going back to what Brother Taz said about this WAP thing, and look how desperate the political party, Democratic Party is. The foolery that goes on. The foolery that goes on.
Joe,
and you have black people talk about, yeah, we got to vote Hillary Clinton in. I hope you choke to death.
Yeah.
Check this out.
Ever since she was a little girl. But I kind of came to awareness of you with the Cardi B WAP.
I've always wanted to do a song with Cardi. As soon as she sent me the song, I think I sent it back to her like the next day. And it was just so exciting. The men, they seem so confident in what they're saying, and they don't have no problem with talking about their sexuality and how they're going to have sex with you. So I was like, well, I could do that, and it's going to sound fire coming from a woman.
It's great to see women be so kind of fierce.
That is my life's mission, to make sure that I'm always unapologetically me.
Chelsea follows rap music. She has ever since she was a little girl. But I kind of came to awareness of you.
You see this foolishness? You see the foolishness? And I believe, I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, family, but Megan Thee Stallion, her mama is her manager, is it not?
Yes. I just want to say real quick, because that pissed me all the way off, because I'm tired of our degeneracy being the model of who we are and our measurement of success. Why she couldn't have somebody of real stature and education up there, somebody that really adds value to the community, as opposed to somebody who degrade and demean the community. I mean, we all should be insulted. These are the things my grandparents always told me was inappropriate. These are the things my grandfather turned his nose down on if this is a female. And especially my grandmothers, this is not how ladies act. I remember they always told my cousins, don't put on no skirt without no slip. That was just something, and I'm a boy. but I heard that in the house. You do not wear a skirt without a slip. You have some level of decency. You have some chaste about yourself. And look and look what's being celebrated and promoted. So what is this saying to our young women? What is this saying? And then here's the same thing with this whole culture, because I don't know if you touched on this, but Candace Owens had got at the Kardashians, you know, about Kris Kardashian being the pimp for Kim. Like, what is this culture? What is it about womanhood that's no longer sacred? What is it? And me as a heterosexual man, like, I got daughters. I don't want them to see this. Either they're gonna be gay or they're gonna be hoes. What happened to being ladies?
Ladies don't exist anymore in this reality. They don't want ladies to exist.
And that's what I was gonna say, sis, because people could say, oh, they're supposed to learn that at home, they're supposed to learn that from their mother. But guess what? Everybody leaves the home. And when you got this mess on the side of city buses, and when you got this played on every radio station, and when you got the heads of state, political figures sitting down with these people that celebrating this foolishness, calling this success. What am I teaching my daughters? Be like me, work 9 to 5, be an advocate for a community who don't care about what you're talking about, spend your money on, like Sister Keisha said, you know, fighting for black folks, man. Woo! We're not even gonna talk about.
We got money.
We got money, but only for other groups. We don't have money for ourselves.
Right.
We got money for Balenciaga, we got money for Louis Vuitton, we got money for Louis Vuitton, we got money for everything but our liberation.
Right, exactly. And when you talk about having money for oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. I'm like, yo, just put 1 month drug money aside, and you can help create. You can save a nation for 2 years.
Sister Keisha, Sister Marcia,
2 years.
Check this out. I'm quite sure y'all heard this. How they trying to charge $25 to get in, and the knowledge is supposed to be free? How they charging in the knowledge? And I'll be like, yo, who the books wasn't free. The trips to these places to do the research ain't free. My time ain't free. I could be sitting on the beach, digging in my feet, sipping a Corona. But no, I'm somewhere getting this information to bring it back to the people, to educate them, to combat the lies that's being told out here. And you think I should give it to you for free?
Because it's knowledge about you. But that's how much we value ourselves, right? Because ourselves is worth nothing, but Balenciaga and all those other brands and the Mercedes, those are worth all my money, because then I look like I'm somebody because I have something. And when I have something in my brain, I don't know, it doesn't look like anything. My brain doesn't look like anything, you know, because it's all about the outside. Outside looks good, the inside could be trashy. And I'm tired of this trashy world.
I told you I saw Lizzo today, but we got our brother Blacksmith in the house.
What's good, Black? How you feeling? You got all your camera stuff worked out?
Yeah, they kept kicking me off, so I had to switch to another source of internet. Peace, Marcia, peace, brother Tad, peace, Sister Keisha. Much love to all of y'all. I'm digging what y'all saying. I'm just listening. So
okay, we gonna come right back to you because I gotta get your intro. You tell the people about 2 things that you sent me. So you'll be our correspondent on that. So we'll come right back to you on that.
No worries.
Good to see you, Black, in full effect. Sister Martin.
All right, thank you.
Definitely. Sister Marie said she's guilty of listening to Meg Thee Stallion. You're an adult.
That's right.
That's right.
There's a difference. My parents listened to Millie Jackson and Red Fox. Let us come in that living room and see what happened.
That's right.
I still got a welt on my back for that one. Okay? No, you're an adult. There is a difference. There is a time and place for everything. For an example, I'm listening to a YouTube channel. Again, they're talking about male-female relationships. So the one guy, he gets on and he's talking about, because, you know, I smashed this and I smashed that. And, you know, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. Whatever happened to making love? I tell you, the reason why people don't say that, because making love comes with responsibility. Smash or beat up doesn't. You understand? Listen to the language that is being used. Do you understand? I just can't. I just can't. I wouldn't want to date these days. If my husband, God forbid, leave this world, I'm done. Cause I can't deal with crazy, and I don't
It's
tolerate
crazy out
stupid.
here, sis. It's
I
crazy out
don't
here.
tolerate stupid either. Under no circumstances. It takes a hell of a lot to get with this. Trust and believe that. I don't come cheap and I don't play games. So it is what it is. But I want to, Sister Marie said, me too. Hell yeah. I'm a grown ass woman. I need grown ass things. I ain't playing. So anyway, and I'm not waiting for you to figure out your ish. At a certain time in life, you better have it together. Anyway, anyway, I wanted to discuss a historical piece without us closing before we close off tonight. 59 years ago, today, 4 babies were bombed in Birmingham, Alabama. And so, for those of you who don't know the story or know very little of it, I got a 3-minute clip. We're going to play this and give honor and respect to those young children who lost their lives and to the many children around the world who had to witness that. I said here before, in 1955, when Emmett Till was murdered, my father was going into first grade. It affected everybody around them at that time. So let's play this clip and remember these 4 children.
And it was fairly large. And so it made sense that meetings would happen there, which would also make it a target. On Sunday morning, September 15th, it was Youth Day, right after Sunday school. Addie Mae Collins, Carol Robinson, Denise Pinero, and Cynthia Wesley are getting ready to go into the choir.
I remember Addie, I was closest to Addie. We would go to church picnics. Addie and I just gravitated to each other.
Cynthia Wesley was a friend of mine. She was at my school. She was a 9th grader. Just started in September. And I was an 11th grader.
I remember Denise back there always smiling, and she was the only child. And I remember Carol Robinson being quiet. She played in the orchestra at her school.
Addie Mae's sister Sarah is also in that ladies' lounge. Sarah said the last thing that she remembers is seeing them helping each other tie on sashes, and then it went dark. We're talking about an explosion that reverberates through the entire city of Birmingham. Everybody heard it.
I was at South Illerton Baptist Church, and our pastor was shifting kind of nervously across the room and said he had received word that 16th Street Baptist Church had been bombed.
I was in Sunday school class. The building seemed like it was shaking off its foundation. Fumes, smelling fumes, and getting hit in the head. I couldn't find my younger sister. Only later to find out that she was taken to the hospital. She was only 4. She was cut in the head, blood dripping down her clothes and down her face.
Reverend John Cross comes down after the explosion to go into the hole and hears moaning.
My father heard somebody saying, Addie, Addie, and he realized that Sarah was calling her sister's name because that's the last voices that she heard before the explosion occurred.
They find the bodies, and they're almost literally stacked on top of each other.
He said it looked like they had been blown together.
It devastated me. It was just so painful to know that these girls were killed at church. They had not done anything to deserve something like that.
That was enough to pull people off the fence. Kids are supposed to be safe at church. This is not supposed to happen in America. We're above this kind of thing. And so this was the catalyst to get some things moving.
Let us never.
Yeah, yeah, that's crazy. I guess they dropped Sister Keisha for dropping that heat on her.
Powerful.
One of the things about the four little girls that I can never forget, and that's seldom mentioned if ever, but you would have to read Medical Apartheid to find this information, is that one of the bodies of the little girls were missing, and that was Adam A. Collins. And that's something that every time you see one of the documentaries, you never hear them talk about it. And that's according to the book by Sister Harriet Washington. She said during the murder of these young people, the cemeteries were still segregated at the time. So black people had to be buried at black cemeteries, you know, as white people go to white cemeteries. And after the civil rights movement, you know, everybody just abandoned all things black. And the cemetery was unkempt. So I believe it was in 1990 something, maybe in the 80s. Adam A. Collins' sister went to have her body exhumed and put it on a better kept cemetery. And when they exhumed the casket, they opened it and her body was missing, never to be found. And of course, that book talks about, you know, the medical atrocities that we suffered just being black people here in America, because she talked about grave diggers and grave robbers and how many of them were from the medical field. They weren't just people looking for jewelry and clothes, they were looking for cadavers. You know, so when we talk about reparations here in this country, I mean, we seen the same thing with Kendrick Johnson when they murdered our young brother, you know, said it was an accident. But then when his family went to identify the body, how he was stuffed with newspapers and they had already stole his organs. And quiet as it is kept, the same thing happened with Trayvon Martin, because he was a missing child before they identified him as a murdered child. So much happens to our children after death that's still swept under the rug. And again, as Sister Keisha brought up Emmett Till, people talk about the murder, but people don't talk about him being at the bottom of the Tallahatchie River with a fan tied to his neck. So not only was he beaten, not only was he shot, but he was also drowned. The human depravity they have for our children's corpse. This is our children. Because we're not even going to talk about our freedom fighters like Denmark Vesey, who was boiled down, Nat Turner, who was boiled down, skinned alive, bodies turned to lampshades, leather jackets, and wallets. And these are some sick people. And I'm giving you the microphone, Sister Keisha. But today I made a post, and one of my brothers said, "Yo, we do each other worse than the white man." And I said, "Yeah, I got to disagree with that, because people can't fathom the depths of these people. Yeah, we harm ourselves with black on black crime, but it may be a dude who shoot 1 or 2 black people. This group kill people by the thousands, by the millions, and have no regard for the sacredness of the life, let alone the body. It's just crazy." But
somehow
100 years war, they killed over 100 million of themselves.
Yeah.
You understand?
But somehow our children are inheriting this practice. It's not as bad yet, but it can be. It can be just as bad very
quickly. Ever be as evil as them. I don't know.
Listen, you see little girls dancing WAP now, 4 years old. Can you imagine what they're going to do at 16 years old? It is a huge problem. They are twisting the minds younger and younger. And one of the things that video said was like, it's a catalyst. It's a catalyst. And I keep hearing this word as if it's some magical word for us in the community. But we've had so many catalysts, and yet we're still vibing to be part of the Jones category versus elevating our people to where we need to be. If everything is such a big catalyst, like even Emmett Till's mother, placing Emmett the way she did so the world could see the atrocities that these people do to us. And yet still 80 years later, we're still burying our children like this. based on actions that they did or based on reactions that they have. Look, the young man was shot by somebody for no reason at all, because now it's like stupid learned behavior. Like just kill him, just kill him. He got money, just kill him, just kill him, just kill him. He got jewelry, just kill him, just kill him. He's eating. You're killing him because he's eating? I don't know. This world is getting sad. But I'm never giving up on my people.
Facts. We got Brother Blacksmith on the check-in. Brother Black, give us the insight. You know, 2 things you sent me a few days ago or a couple of days ago. One on Zelensky. Can you give us an insight on that? What happened?
Minor car accident, but usually when you see people at that level in that situation, because we all know, you know, most of us have lived long enough to know when a dignitary, a president, a prime minister, a senator, you know, anybody of any stature, especially in a country in Europe at war actively, because with the last move that the Ukrainians did last week, we now know that this is more of a kinetic war than in a regular war. And so in my opinion, because I can't prove it to anybody, but in my opinion, when you see a president of a country get into a minor car accident, that to me means he was arrested, because when you are president of a country, especially in a country at war, you're supposed to have at least 5 or 6 cars around you where, you know, you're boxed in, where nobody can get to you like that. So how are you going to get into a minor car accident? So that's what I'm thinking about Zelensky. The Russians are manipulating the Ukrainians to move the way that they want. But like I told y'all last week, the intel that I've gotten recently has said that the war there now is really between the Russians and the Anunnaki, because they like that area, because that's where their portals are, where they can go off planet at will. This is intel that I'm not trying to prove to anybody or trying to get anybody to believe. I'm telling you, I got the information and I'm just disseminating it.
Got you. Thank you,
Right.
Brother Black. Always coming in and giving us that real intel. Oftentimes, you know, people think we crazy, but when it comes to be true, they say, "Oh yeah, they said that." Too late, fool. Because we don't know it. Like right now, I don't know if you guys have been seeing on social media, in particular Twitter, all of these Caribbean nations boo-hooing about the Queen. Now, I had to go in on Jamaica personally. I had to give them the prime minister, their leading newspaper. I gave them the work, right? And got the people on my side. How dare you mourn about a queen? 12 days now of mourning about the queen that kept you in the condition that you're in now, and her son gonna be 10 times worse. Are you crazy? Are you crazy? This is why we don't rock with you, because you do stupid stuff. Now, I don't know if y'all seen this last Labor Day parade shenanigans. You got chicks gyrating all over the police. Foolishness. And this is not the first time. It's always this way. Nobody should respect you. You act like a whore, you should be treated as such. And I'm saying that. Whoever don't like it, see me. I be out here by myself. I'm about that life. Don't play with me. You act like a whore, you deserve to be treated as such. So when these police officers pull you over for whatever God knows what, and demand you blow him, comply, because you already been doing it. I ain't got time for the foolishness. That's what you out here doing? Comply. Don't cry and say, well, he tried to rape me. No, you was gyrating on him a week ago. He giving you what you gave him. Good for you. Don't ring these numbers over here.
Or when he shoots your son, or
There
your
you go. Don't
husband,
cry.
or your pappy.
Don't
Oh
cry.
my God, Officer Billy shot somebody.
Don't cry.
You were just dancing with him. You were having a good old time. And then your girlfriends were helping you get up there even better. Go around his legs.
Crazy. You an embarrassment and a disgrace. That's why I don't
And
rock
this is
with
why,
that foolery.
a lot of people say, I hate my sisters. I hate my sisters. I am not gonna, and I'm saying sisters just because of this, not sisters because we've been communicados and stuff like that. No, because I'm a Black woman who loves Black women, but I also hate Black women who don't understand their position. Like,
Facts.
what's wrong with you?
Facts. It was a disgrace. So for all of you who ask me, oh, you attend the Labor Day parade, I'd rather die. Horribly. That's how bad I despise it. But anyway, now in this climate, Brother Black, Brother Tad, Sister Marcia, in this recessionist climate, how do you see Black businesses faring?
Say that again.
In this recession climate, right? And your president said to prepare for 2 more years, even worse. That's what he said, right? The markets are pummeling. In a matter of 6 months, Bitcoin dropped almost 40,000.
Yes.
So, in this economic climate, how do you guys see Black businesses faring?
If I can, I see it like this: all businesses are failing. Inside of one thing we never talk about on this show is the economy. And when Trump was president, active president, when he was acknowledged as the president, he was purposely destroying the economy because in order to bring in the cabal, the bad guys call it the Great Reset, and the good guys call it MAGA, I guess, Make America Great Again, and that's going to include a reset. And what I'm saying is in order for the new system, whoever wins out, and we know the good guys are going to win eventually, whoever wins out, you have to destroy the old system in order to implement a new one. That's just how it goes. So inside of that, any non-essential business, and I'm not talking about under the COVID protocols, I'm talking about, what's actually needed, like supermarkets and food manufacturing, food processing manufacturers, on and on and on. Those are the things that are going to last. Because remember, I know, not everybody believes and all that. Like you just said a minute ago, people believe we conspiracy theorists, crazy and all that. But you got to understand that when this junk DNA gets reactivated, after that flash, we're not even going to need half the stuff that's out here in the market right now. You know what I'm saying? Food is going to grow on its own without pesticides and what do you call what makes the food grow fat, fertilizers and stuff like that. Stuff is going to be natural because we're going to be in another dimension at that point. So that's what
the Netflix series, The Future of.
No, I haven't seen it. What I did watch that you sent me.
You talk about food growing within your reach. Now, if it's good for you or not, I don't know. I wouldn't ask everyone, and brother Ashe put me onto this anyway. But there is a series on Netflix talking about the future of. When I look at Black business today, right now we behind the 8 ball in every aspect. So I am skeptical. The reason why I say that is because conglomerates have put in play mandates to do business that is crippling small business. For example, if Marcia sells glasses on Amazon, right? Marcia cannot discount her glasses to Tad Cromwell website, even though Tab Cromwell website specializes in selling discounted merchandise. His e-commerce business can't get Marcia glasses. It's sort of a mob operation that has been happening for quite some time. And although I see a lot of Black businesses going e-commerce, which is the way to go, some doing e-commerce and brick and mortar, the way the world is going, even for example, fashion. 10 years ago, I was telling people, athleisure is the way to go. It's going to dominate the world because the future of work is changing, and people were looking at me like I was crazy. Okay, you're in that position now. But as a group, those of us as a group, I think it's critical. And I said that in the opening of this broadcast, that we support each other in every way possible. We are going to wholeheartedly have to rely on each other. As Brother Blacksmith said, things are changing. Who knows us better than us? I don't give a damn what other groups are doing. I don't care if they all die out. I could care less. I'm worried about us. I'm worried about us, and there are avenues. For example, there is a brother he now, I believe, is in Louisiana. He came out of Ohio, specializing in processing precious metals, right? Which is huge as far as Black people are concerned. When it comes to processing gold, silver, copper, things of that nature, you don't see Black businesses doing that. Right. So, for example, last week I talked about me joining a transportation infrastructure committee, right? Name me one Black business that specializes in that, and I'll wait. I found one. I got them on board. I didn't ask for nothing. Now they got a government contract that they wouldn't have had before. So when I say that us helping each other, when you win, I win. When I win, you win. As you said, we have to fix that trust wire that runs through all of us, right? You have to fix that. Stop trying to one up, because you are losing in the process. Other groups don't do that. Brother Tad started out saying, when you go to a corporate meeting, there is a plan, an agenda, and a solution. So that when you leave that meeting, everybody's on one accord, right? You don't have the chairman going at the VP, going at the CFO, going at the COO. It don't work that way. When it comes to us, we always looking for a hookup, a favor, or could you do it for free?
Not sure.
That doesn't work.
Not sure.
That doesn't work. Brother Leonard McNeil, shout out to my brother. He said we need to learn how to recycle gold out of electronics. Facts. We are so behind the 8 ball with that. Go ahead, Sister Marcia.
So one thing I was going to say, like when you were talking about Black businesses, one is that we're too boggled into the apparel business. We need to be outside of the apparel business and into more electronics and technology based businesses.
Because Marcia, I disagree with that.
Okay, hold on. Let me. I want to go through with it. Because I know 10 people that are selling clothes. If those 10 people that are selling clothes work together, maybe it can work out for their advantages. But for right now, it's not working out for their advantage. But we're always locked into the apparel because I guess people know that we buy a lot of stuff and we want to look cute. That's great. But we need to be in other industries, publishing, right? We have great writers, we have great everything. We just don't publish ourselves. We'll use Amazon publishing. That's a new big thing. Instead of working out a way to create a publishing network, because people are self-publishing, but let's do it in a better way, a wiser way. There are so many industries out there that we could use each other's support in versus going out to Amazon or everywhere else warehouse to get things done. And to the brother's point, the e-recycling people, we should be doing e-recycling ourselves, and figuring out how to burn out those metals and create other products, because those e-recyclers are making buku dollars, and every week they're coming around my block talking about, you don't have no electronics in your house that you want to get rid of, because we'll pick them up. We'll give you a day that we'll come pick them up, bag them all up for us. And I'm like, why I want my electronics so bad though?
It's funny you say that, because when Brother Tad was talking about the murder of P&B Rock and mentioned Empire Distribution, which he was held under, the founder, Ghazi Shami, started out by recycling electronics. See, that's how he gained his capital. You see? So to your point, you were right. We have to not get into the stay honed in on the retail side of things, move into the manufacturing side of things, right? That is where because everybody's going to always have to wear clothes, not as much as you used to. You're going to have to wear that, right? As long as you on this plane, you do, or you going to jail. You're going to need shoes because you can't walk without footwear in this world. But we have to get in on the manufacturing side, but in a different way, because we've always been there. You had Sean John, 555 Soul, Mecca, Academics, Rockaware, Sean John, Fat Farm, all failed. And if you've been watching us, you've been watching us, I've been talking about how it's mob controlled, right? And how you have to move differently. Now with clothing and footwear, you have to move to the digital aspect of it. That is changing, right? Digital clothes for the metaverse or whatever it is. Right? The company I wear, you see Rock Deep right here, I ain't playing. Digital bonds. You know what it is to be a digital bond holder? Do you understand? To be a brand ambassador with digital bonds, that is ownership in manufacturing. So when they pick up these shoes for the metaverse, right? Instead of them wearing Nike, they're going to be wearing Rock Deep. Right. See? So instead of that, what are you? Air Force Ones and Air Max. See that Mansa Musa right there? Can y'all see that? Can you see Negus on the back? Can you see that or no? Right?
Not really, but take a close-up picture and post it for us.
Now, with this brand, matter of fact, you can get those on the website right now, less than $50, because it's a sale going on. So I'm going to hook you up. Winter time is coming. I'm going to hook you up. We're going to move in and we're going to move out. I'm going to come back to Brother Black in a minute, but I got to do this, right? Because it's my business, right? Stop playing with me. You see these boots right here? Stop playing with me. Do you see those waterproof, slit-proof, gusseted tongues? Stop playing. If you want the hookup, I got you. Why spend $200 when you can spend less than $50? Okay? And you ain't getting waterproof, slip proof, and wearing your own stuff, right? The Sojourner Truths, the Mansa Mollys, right? Everything is black name comes with a history on every product. I'm not pushing just to be pushing rock deep. I'm telling you how you could be down with ownership for the next generation. What footwear company is telling you about digital bonds and how you could be down for the future? What footwear or apparel company is pulling young black children as collaborators? You need Gen Z. They the ones that's going to be moving this. You understand? You understand? But how many billions have we made for other folks? Whether it's Puma, Adidas, Nike, wherever, Timberland, wherever.
Balenciaga now.
You can't, they half of them can't even spell it and live in the basement with your mama. You can't live with your mama and wear.
So I ain't want to gossip.
Balenciaga, you're a bum.
I ain't want to gossip, but I do part of a literacy program, right? And cute little princess she can't read, but she's like, look at my Balenciagas. It's like, what are those? She was like, these are fashionable. These are so cute. And I'm like, girl, can you tell me how to spell cat?
Yeah, but you see, it's the world that they live in, right? Even when we came up, labels was pushed at us. I still got the Louis bags downstairs. So I'm just saying, it's the same thing. It's just ramped up now. It's speed up now. You know?
Or it's not so much that
what the hell is going on here?
Or it's not so much that it's sped up. It's just that those parents never had time to think, time to be free enough to think on how to get themselves to another level. I think that's the thing about the future generation, the generation behind me or the generation ahead of me, whatever they call it. They don't have no time to think. They're always on a go. They've been indoctrinated with, we started out with the big old casket phones, right? Now they have, they had the church, they had the Nextel. So they really never had a chance, a moment to be by themselves and to think about what your future is going to be like. So they were always marketed to constantly. So my little princess is telling me about Balenciagas and can't spell cat or dog. You're muted, or I'm muted.
No, Sister Keisha's muted.
Okay. Now go back and ask them children what a digital bond is. Right?
Girl, if they can't spell cat, where they gonna tell me about a digital bond?
So the thing is, either you set your children and grandchildren up for the future or you don't. Because Pharaoh is owning the digital bonds. You understand what I'm saying? This is not a game. And when you see product, Supreme product, I have been in this business for over 20 years. I know trash when I see it. And a lot of y'all walking around with trash. That's why your shoes fall apart, your clothes tear, you give them one wash and they're getting all fuzzy and nasty. And you pay $50 for that shirt. Everything
I go to Rainbows.
Trash.
I pay $3.
Still trash.
That's right. I know I'm paying for trash.
but I'm just saying.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just saying we have to.
So you know what I need, sis? This is what I need, and I keep telling my children this too. The young kings and kandakes. I need an education on metaverse, right? Because I don't have time. I need someone to teach me and show me. I don't want to go through the, Brother Tabby telling you go to YouTube University and stuff like that. I don't want to go through YouTube University. I want the young people. I want to empower the young people to educate the old people, right? because I'm going to consider myself a young elder right now, and I want to pay the young people to teach me and my friends, whoever wants to come along, on how to be digitally versed in the metaverse and everything else. Because I damn sure know
You gotta
when
catch up, sis. You gotta catch up and you gotta be involved. I'm not giving you a pass on that one. I'm not. I'm not, because if we ain't in the same space where they are, we lost too. And they
But
can
I
run
want them
damage
to teach
around
me
us.
so I could be in the space with them.
Yeah,
If they
so
teach
you
me,
gotta
I'll
rock
be in
with
the
them.
space.
Don't let them do it all for you. You gotta be there
No.
with it.
I
Google
want them to be
course
taught.
is
I
free.
don't want them to do anything for me. I want them to teach me. Are you crazy? Then they're gonna probably screw me
Google
over.
courses. Take them Google courses. Sister,
So
Farnessa
again,
said, how does one get a digital bond? Well, I'm glad you asked that, because I'm working on getting the owner and founder of Rock Deep Footwear and Apparel on this platform. When time permits it. Right now, I know you all may have read in the news or saw in the news what's happening with containers and things like that coming out into the United States, sitting on the water and all this kind of stuff. It is a nightmare in this industry. Trust me, it is a nightmare right now. Those of us who work in this industry, is hell. So I'm telling you, once time permits it, we will definitely have him on here. He's ready and rocking. It's just me, because I need to get some things done before we bring him on this platform. Also, too, um, uh, with one thing I can say to you, Sister Farnessa, is in order to get a speed up on what digital bonds is and how they work, to download the Rock Deep app and just be aware when he goes live, so that he can give you some intel on what's coming with the brand and how you can be down. I want to personally thank him for sending me a care package, all these things he sent to me, so I can wear and take some photographs and all that kind of stuff. I told you all many years ago, Brother Tad is here. He can tell you how you can get your favorite brands for free. But y'all don't listen to me, and I'm not repeating it again. Go back and watch those shows, because I already gave you the game. I'm not doing it again. So go back and find it. How you can wear your favorite brands for free. How you can be down, but not doing that again for you. Not going back to pull you forward. Not doing that. So don't laugh, Brother Lenore. You know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so if you want ownership in a brand, if you want to see where it's going, yeah, digital bonds is the way to go, because those digital bonds in certain footwears right now, the release of the new Wu-Tang shoe and all of that, we got celebrities right now that we are dropping lines for, specifically for them, right? And you can lease those, make an NFT, and you got money for life. You got money for life. So it's a different game. It's a different ball game, and how we moving. We coming down to the end of our show. Brother Black, your final thoughts, comments, news. What you got for us, brother?
Very involved. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Hello? Okay. Tad, more to you than anybody else on the panel, but anybody else on the panel knows, let me know. Y'all remember the clothing company, P&B Clothing?
Yes.
They used to advertise a lot in the Source back in the days, in the 90s. Yeah. Was P&B Rock involved with them in any kind of way, or do you know?
No, not that I know of.
Okay, so maybe it was just as initial.
No, well,
he named
after 2 blocks in Philadelphia, where he from.
Oh, okay, I didn't know, so I was just asking. I don't know most of the younger guys now, because they rhyming in a way where it doesn't appeal to people of my age and so on and so forth. But I just wanted to ask that question. As far as everything else is concerned, The Knights of Malta have been disbanded. The Pope is supposed to be the next one to actually die. The one that's there now is a skin mask like Biden. So, you know, they basically all been eradicated 2-3 years ago, like Hillary Clinton and the Clintons. I don't know if y'all into the QAnon stuff and all that, but on that list, most of the people who could be dangerous to anybody who's countering the cabal narrative is either gone or so put away that they cannot be a factor anymore in everything. Remember when I was talking about Zelensky earlier and saying about how I think he was arrested as a result of that report in the news that I sent you? Okay, as far as that's concerned, I think the same thing with Paul Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi's husband, who recently had a real serious car accident, drunk in California. So those kinds. So to give y'all context as to why I say what I said, I believe that was the same situation. If y'all need to research Nancy Pelosi's history, because her father was the mayor of Baltimore, I believe in the 40s or 50s, and he was accused of all kinds of scandals and corruption and all that. It got so bad he had to leave the state of Maryland and move to California. And then she came up into the political process to become who she is now, and so on and so forth. As far as everything is concerned, as far as where I'm looking at it from, just continue doing what you're doing, especially if it's good. That flash is going to happen soon. I don't know when. It could be 5 years from now, but that's what I'm waiting for. And in the process of waiting for that, I'm just loving my people and trying to see them come forth. Sister Keisha, I love what you're talking about as far as, you know, what you do for Black people and so on and so forth. What I try to do for Black people as a whole, and my family more in particular, got me to be a targeted individual. So, for the most part now, I just write and come on shows like this and spit what I got. And I'm not trying to save nobody no more. We in a day and age now, like if you're young or whatever, you just come up on me and we get into a conversation and you know about this kind of stuff, I might give you some tips or some ways to go. But as far as like adults, if you don't know by now, you won't know. And I'm not trying to put myself, if you like it, I love it. So that's how I talk to people. I don't care what it is. If you like it, I love it. And that's where I'm going with it. Peace, love, and respect to the whole, y'all. I'm Blacksmith. Y'all know me as Blacksmith on the show. I'm Flavius Jones on Facebook. I got a new blog, however, it's inconsistent because right now I'm working on getting a laptop. Hopefully I have it before in the next 2 weeks, and then I'll be consistent and I'll start advertising that more and more on this show and other platforms that I'm on. So peace and love. See y'all next week.
Peace.
Sister Marcia, we rocking out
Well,
with you on Saturday. What's going on?
That's right. That's what I was going to say. I was closing out with come check out the Woman King with Sister Keisha and I and everybody else is coming out. It's going to be a fun afternoon, and I hope to see y'all all there. Linden Multiplex Theater. If you didn't get your ticket, there's still some tickets available. And all I can say is may time flourish for us all, because we all deserve good times and joy. Thank you, everyone.
All right. All right,
Brother
family.
Brother Tad.
All right, family. So just a quick recap, make sure you get that mental health checked out. If not for yourself, for those you love, the people around you, because a lot of people walk around in pain, suffering. There's something we can no longer sneeze at, laugh at, or sweep under the rug. Mental health is definitely a crisis in our community. Definitely look out for our people as we see other groups are jockeying for position to move us up out of the race. Come on, y'all. We all we got. We got to learn to lean on each other. And with that leaning, we got to develop some level of character, accountability, so that we can definitely trust one another once again. So let's get that information on what's going on in the world. How can we move our community forward, as we talked about finances, fintech, and all types of other things. Whatever resonates with your spirit, get involved with it. You know what I'm saying? And bring it back. Make it a purpose make it a purposeful addition you give to moving our group forward, because things are happening right around us and we don't want them to happen to us. You know, we've dealt with enough. So hopefully you were inspired by some of the things you heard tonight. So it's your turn to go out and inspire others. So y'all stay up, stay blessed, and stay true. And remember, no matter how hard things may seem right now, it's always better days ahead. Sister Keisha.
Kudos to all of you. I appreciate you all coming on tonight, giving your wise words of wisdom, because our people need it tonight. I know it sounds redundant and it may be redundant, but each and every week I get a bunch of emails and text messages and they learn something they never knew before. And so we doing our job and they appreciate what we're doing. So, Sister Marcia, I will see you and the young Kendakes on Saturday morning. We're going to rock out and we're going to have a discussion about this film. And then next week, I will give you all, or we will give you all, our analysis of this film and the discussion we have with these young boys. We are going to have a good time. Share this platform, like, share, subscribe. We definitely appreciate you all. Don't forget the OG Wisdom podcast with Brother Tad and Brother C Gutter. Check them out. Again, you can check Brother Blacksmith Flavius Jones on Facebook and get in tune with his writings. And so you can go back to understand what he's talking about now. I wish you all a great, healthy, mentally healthy and physically healthy rest of the week. To the Hopkins family, the elders in the family, I will see y'all Sunday for our Sunday brunch. Family is very important to me. And that is where my focus is right now. I've done a hell of a lot for our people. I've sacrificed a hell of a lot. Trust and believe me. So now I'm taking care of me. Good night, y'all. Have a good one. Stay safe out there.